Unlovability is a word, and the question is, how do we develop, how do we create that experience? Because it's only relevant in a very narrow context. So, for example, if we close the loop and then step inside the domain of the closed loop system, and there's no person in that system that is capable of loving some part of itself, some part of the system, then we could say that unlovability exists. But we have to define the boundary, first of all, because we have to define it as people, right? We have to say that there's no person here able to love some part or other of us, of the world of us. And we have to believe the barrier, we have to believe the boundary that people are all that is. For example, if you believe in angels or transcendent consciousness, then unlovability becomes, less real, because maybe you can't love me and maybe I can't love myself, but maybe there's a transcendent consciousness, a goddess, a god, that it's a little bit arrogant to presume, to project that because I cannot do something, nothing in the known multiverse or the unknown multiverse could possibly do what I can't do. In other words, the boundary has to be pretty tight. So it has to be limited to human beings. And then there probably is or has been a human being who could love me or love this or love that at some point in history. And so we have to say, well, they're not there, right? So we have to define it in a proximal loop of, there's these 20 people around me right now, and none of them are capable of loving this. And you also then have to define the definition of love. And you have to define it in such a way that no one is able or willing to do it in that proximal circle around us. So having limited the question to people, to physical people alive and at this point in time, and then limited that to the actual people around us, and then limited the definition of love to what? Only having sex with me, or but who comes up with these definitions, right? So then you have to fall within different cultural parameters. And then you can say, well, according to this cult, this is what love is, right? According to some cults, you have to genitally mutilate the child. Male circumcision, or sewing up the vagina, or cutting off the clitoris. That's love. That's what the cult says is the thing to do if you care about your children. So you have to define love, and then you have to evaluate that no one in your circle that's physical and there at that time seems able and willing to do that. And then one has to, extrapolate. So it's one thing to say, well, I don't know how to do this kind of love at this time, toward this part of me at this time. How about you? Do you know how to do that? No, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to love myself in this way or that way at this time. But it is a very painful experience to want and need love and belonging and experience shame and trauma and pain and scapegoating and blame and loneliness. It is a very painful feeling. And uncertainty and high levels of pain seems to be more unbearable than certainty. You can think of waiting for a lover. Are they going to call? Are they going to call? Are they going to call? They could call. They could call now. They could call next year. They could call next month. They could never call, right? And I want them to call. I want them to call, and I want them to be interested in me, and I want them to call right now, and the phone is not ringing right now. So you have pain. I desire something, and I am far away from it. That's pain. If you don't desire it, it's not pain that it's far away. If you say, get that person away from me, and then they're away from you, there's no pain, there's pleasure, right? You get what you desire, right? Pain is the separation from and longing for what we desire. I want this. And it's out of my reach. I can't I'm in pain, right? So I want them to call. I want them to call, and they're not calling. I'm in pain, right? And I'm waiting, is they going to do this? And the suspense, right? Because it's a lot of pain. Right? I really, really, really want someone to be interested in me. I want this person to be interested in me. And if they were really interested in me, they would prioritize time with me. They would call. There's 29 million seconds in the day, right? Or whatever it is, right? And one of those seconds would be, if they were really into me, they would call, right? If just one of those seconds, right? And if they were really into me, they would call all the time, right? And just want to talk with me endlessly, right? And so that's what would be wonderful. I want them to talk with me endlessly. And then the reality is not even this second, not that second, this other second. What are they doing with all these seconds? There's this and that. Are all those seconds? They're chatting with this person. They're going. Is all that more important than me? Is all that more important than me? Here I am, waiting, longing, and the seconds are going by. And they're going by as I go. You really think that shopping at Safeway is more important than me? It's like I'm going by and going by. You couldn't call while driving hands-free? You'd rather drive alone thinking about nothing than talk to me? It's going by, it's going by. What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? All these ridiculous things that they're doing rather than talking to me, rather than reaching out. I long for somebody to be interested, to be engaged, to be enthusiastic about being with me. I long for that. And I've had it, right? So I'm in pain, and it's uncertain. I've got uncertainty and I've got pain, and I can't take it anymore. I can't take being on tenterhooks. I can't be on pins and needles. I can't think, right? I've got to do something to make this certain, right? So excruciating pain, however it is, mingled with uncertainty, creates this, when you have uncertainty, you bring all your attention to that uncertainty, right? You can't put it to rest because your brain needs to know, and it needs to know because it's in pain. Now, if it knew, like if you knew that you would be in pain for the next year, I am going to be in a lot of pain for the next year. And then in 1 year, 365 days from now, it would go. And I've got to figure out, I've got to create a strategy now. See, now I know, right? Now I know. I've got to create a strategy. Pain dulling, part 1, pain dulling, part 2, distraction, part 1, distraction, part 2. I'm going to do this and do this and do this, and I'm going to ask all my friends. I've got pain for the next year, so I need extra support for the next year. I need a plan to deal with all this pain. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to need some sleeping pills. I'm going to need to pamper myself extra. I'm going to need some massage. I need ways to get through this pain, right? And I also need to just prepare myself. This is going to be painful, but then it's going to be over. And so now I can move on, right? But when things are uncertain, maybe it'll be great in 1 minute. Maybe it'll be horrible. Maybe this will go on forever. Maybe maybe 5 minutes. Maybe he'll call. Maybe she won't. Well, which maybe, and so the mind has to dwell on the equation until it is resolved. Right? The mind does not like unresolved pain, because the mind is there to try and solve the pain. What do I do? What do I do? Well, it depends. If this happens, then we do this. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this. And if they're doing it because this, what if the reason they're not calling is because they're afraid of rejection? Well, then we shouldn't reject them. What if the reason they're not calling is because they really don't care, or they don't get it, and they're never going to respond to emotional needs, right? They don't get it. They're never going to respond to emotional needs. Maybe they're testing me to see if I will get rid of them quickly because they've been hurt in the past. And if I just get rid of them quickly, but maybe they just don't care. They're just not that into me. And then the sooner I get this over, this hell of uncertainty and fear of rejection and all this stuff, the sooner I get this over, the better. What if that's the situation? And then I'm just tormenting myself, and it's never going to work out. Well, what would I do if I break up with them? What would I do? What would I do if I break up with them? What would I do? Find someone else. Is there anyone else going to love me? No, it's always like this. They never call. I'm unlovable, right? Oh, okay, so it's resolved. I've resolved it. I'm unlovable. It's hopeless. It's pointless. Just forget about it, right? I'm unlovable. Okay, there's nothing to solve here, is there, right? I can turn my attention to other things because I'm an unlovable person. It's always going to be this way. It always has been this way, except for brief moments just to annoy me and confuse me. And then that's the way it will be, right? So this is what I'm getting at is uncertain pain is much harder to sustain indefinitely than certain pain. Uncertain joy and pain, it could go this way, it could go that way, it could go this way, uncertain joy and pain is also, could be painful. So I have to focus on it, right? And what if it was bad, right? So that's hard to deal with. When I crystallize it, when I say this is the way it is. Now, I can't see, and this is an important thing. So first thing to understand is pain is the separation from and longing for. The second thing is that uncertain pain, out of my control, demands complete adrenaline, the brain is just hammering away at it. And then it wants a resolution. to how are we going to deal with this pain, right? And the trouble with the ideals of the Western culture. So we have a cult that worships being cool. We're just not cool unless we're sociopathic, right? If we're sociopathic and we don't care about ourselves or anyone else, we're cool. That's what cold is, right? Sociopathic, right? It's on the way to being disconnected, right? I don't care, says the teenager, because I'm sociopathic, right? An empath, a human being, cares about itself and about people and about relationships. But the sociopath doesn't care. The sociopath is cool, disconnected, right? Doesn't care. And that's only something to admire if you anticipate that caring equals pain. If caring equals fulfilled love, then why are you so proud that you don't care, right? So you say you don't care. Why are you mentioning it? Who gives a shit, right? What's the big deal about you don't care? Except if you anticipate, if you expect, if the supposition is that caring equals pain, then it's a big deal that you don't care, because now you don't have pain. You don't have joy. You don't have love, but you also don't have pain. So if the expectation is, if the supposition is that you are going to be in pain, then the whole focus should be on caring less so that your pain is less meaningful, less painful. It goes numb, basically. So in other words, if you cannot solve the wound, anesthetics become the primary, secondary path of focus, right? I am in pain, and I'm going to be in pain, and there's nothing I can do about it. So that's just the way things are and will always be. So how can I numb the pain? Well, not caring is a dissociation, right? That's what not caring is. I take my empathic brain and I put it offline. I dissociate. I put it on ice. Now I don't care about anything, right? Live, die, kill, murder, torment. I don't care. Right? I'm cool. I'm cool. I don't feel anything. And so anesthetics become the intelligent path of focus when we don't care. But we don't care, that's the anesthetic, when we don't think we can do anything about it. If we think we can solve the problem, then we do care and we solve it. But so you could say that sociopathic and anesthetic, directions around this whole terrain are in the domain of incompetence, right? There's a connection between incompetence. Because if I could be ecstatically loved, if I knew how, and I was, then caring would feel great, and success would feel great, and being loved would feel great, and there would not be any obsession about being cool, i.e. dissociated and numb. But if the understanding is that we are a cult of fools who regularly hurt ourselves and one another, and to care is to be miserable for all eternity with no recourse, and to not care is to be free of that misery, well, then being cool becomes cool. I want to be cool. I want to be one of those people who doesn't care. And of course, if nobody cares, then you could say that unlovability is there with those people who don't care, right? But it is important to note that the kind of community level incompetence, that my family doesn't know how to love this part of me, because they know how to love some part of you or you're dead, right? Because the basic form of love is survival, right? That's your first need and you're still here. So they knew how to keep you alive, maybe just to torment you. But anyway, that's the first level of love. And then security of survival. I mean, are you expecting to die any minute now? You've probably got some security of survival. So where the cult tends to break down is in the domain of love and belonging. That's the third need in the hierarchy of human needs. It's the third face of love. You're alive, you're relatively secure that you'll be alive tomorrow, but you don't feel love and belonging. This part of me feels unloved, does not belong anywhere. And so I feel a void. I feel a pain. I want to be loved. I want to belong. And I don't feel loved and I don't belong. And I don't know how to love myself. And I don't know how to invite this part back into my being. So this is all, this is all related to this sense of unlovability. I am unlovable is a statement that brings certainty to a feeling, right? So you can't love me, you can't love me, you can't love me, you can't love me. You've never liked this part of me, let alone loved. You've always wished that this part of me would go away. So this part of me realizes your incapacity to make this part feel welcome. So I don't have love and belonging, the third in the hierarchy of needs. So I am not loved by you. I'm not loved by you. I'm not loved by you. I'm not loved by you. And because you're all hating me for this part, you can think of, for example, homosexuality in a homophobic cult. In a homophobic cult, the members are terrified that men will be affectionate with other men, that will like other men. This is, according to the cult, a horrendous thing. All what? We lose our identity. What? The world comes to an end. We get cast into hell. What? What is it, right? Well, anyway, this is a horrible thing, according to the cult. And so suddenly the cult gives birth to a man that feels kindly, that feels loving towards another man. What's it to do? The world's going to come to an end. So you have belief structure, right? The world's going to come to an end because this man loves this man. Don't you understand? Don't you understand? We're into the unknown. We're into chaos. We're into the deeps. We don't know what to do. This is bad. Why? Because so many people react in such weird ways around it, so it becomes bad, right? Things were going fine until you had to love that man, right? And then, so now the part in that man that loves another man becomes the enemy of the entire cult. They're not loving that part. They're not understanding it. They're not empathizing. They're afraid of it. They're attacking it. They're hurting it. Get away. Well, one of the things, in a community setting where we all need love and belonging is the part in us that nobody will love becomes the part that we can't love in ourselves. We try and push it away. If only I had been born not loving men, if only I had been born differently, if I didn't exist, then everyone would be happy, right? We want to make other people happy. And they would be happier if we were dead, if we didn't exist, if we were different. I wish I could kill this part of me, right? So now you have a setup, right? You have a circle where you're not loving me, you're not loving me, you're not loving me, you're not loving me, you're not loving me. Now I could say, well, I'm proud, I'm proud to love other men. This is intelligent. Don't you understand that it's better to love than to hate? And it's, what is so crazy about a penis? Are you nuts? I can get a hand massage and that's good, but I have more pleasure when my penis is massaged. But that's, what? What is this? This is nuts. Is pleasure illegal? What's going on here? So you're saying get a hand massage because that feels nice, But don't get a penis massage because that feels really nice. Why don't you get rid of your favorite ice cream and get, your worst favorite ice cream? And it's fine to buy your worst favorite ice cream, but not to buy strawberry. Oh my goodness, the pleasures you feel with strawberry ice cream is just so wonderful that is to be banned, illegal, made illegal. Attack, right? Kill them, lynch the people with strawberry ice cream. They're having too much fun, right? What's the idea here? What is the idea? It's really, God, the chauvinist, God, right? Only God, right? God was created in man's image. So God isn't allowed to love himself? No. God has to love what he's not, love one of his ribs instead. What is the story here, right? But you see, the point is, if no one around you loves you, if they hate you for being you generates more hatred. So if you grow that, it's like, I'm proud, I'm going to give, hold your hand and give you a, massage and tell you how beautiful you look. And every one of those things is going to be met with a punch and a hate and escalate the need to kill me. Well, then I should say, you're right. It is bad. I'm sorry. I'll hide this part of me. Go away, part that loves men. Go away. Go away. Because you're scaring all these people. I mean, they surely one of them knows something. Are they? They're all terrified of affection? I mean, my goodness. What is it? I mean, what is it with this? Get them. So, I mean, hating oneself, trying to kill and suppress parts of oneself, then becomes self-preservation. So it's kind of a confusing thing. I'm loving myself by trying to kill myself so that I won't be killed, right? At least my body will be alive. My psyche may be in tatters. My esteem may be destroyed, but my body is still alive because they didn't kill me, because I'm apologizing for seeing the beauty in myself and other men. I'm apologizing. And so I'm sorry. I know this shouldn't exist. I won't let it come out again. We'll see that it doesn't. Otherwise, we're going to have to take drastic measures, lynching, killing, sentencing you to prison for being kind to other men, bringing the pleasure threshold, right? Get a finger massage, but not a penis massage. That's okay, right? Well, what do, right? Clearly I am, if no one in your limited circle has loved you for whatever it is, your artistic tendency, your ability to tell the truth. Every time you tell the truth, they hate you. What secrets are they going to dig up about me, and then I'll be punished? Get them, right? Knock them down. We don't want truth tellers around here. Because once the truth comes out, we have to be punished. Why? Why do you have to be punished when the truth comes out? Because we're a sociopathic cult. You cross the line and you get punished. Why don't you cross the line and learn about why they're crossing the line and what? No. You're ruining the system. It's all, this is not good at all. You have to be punished. So the truth cannot come out, or I will be punished. And they will be punished. We'll all be punished when the truth comes out, because we've all crossed the line. There's the line. You cross the line, you have to be punished. We've all crossed the line. You were speeding on that day. Do you want to be whipped or punished? Do you want to be, it's like you committed adultery. You did that. 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 You cheated on your taxes in 1984. So if the truth comes out, you will all have to be punished. You'll have to be fined 10 years of back taxes. It'll bankrupt you, but, well, we've got to do what we have to do. And then you're going to have to be sent to prison, and we'll all have to put in $100,000 a year to lock you up in a box. And then You're going to have to stop being the minister, right? We can't have a minister that's disobeying the Bible in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. It's like, but now we need a new minister. But you cross the line as well. I mean, so now we have no minister, right? And then, what are we going to do then? The person who's telling the truth is ruining it, right? It's ruining it. Everything is ruined because you told the truth. Yes, I know we said you should always tell the truth, but we didn't mean it. We were lying. Didn't you understand we were lying? We don't want you to always tell the truth, but we don't want to kind of admit we're not telling the truth, because then we'd have to be punished again, right? Oh my goodness, because we believe that we have to be punished every time we tell a lie. So but we have to be caught first, and we don't want somebody actually telling the truth and catching us. So anyway, we have, the truth teller is unlovable, right? Why did you have to say that? Because you said to tell the truth. No, I didn't mean in this situation, of course. You told your 400-pound mom she was fat. What? Now she's going to be stuck in her room for days. Oh, my goodness. Well, she asked if I looked fat, and she looks fat. Yes, but, oh my goodness. Why don't you understand that when we say to tell the truth, don't tell the truth? Why didn't you understand that? Because it's the opposite, right? You said to study the dictionary, right? It's the opposite. Tell the truth means tell the truth. It doesn't mean don't tell the truth. Oh, these kids are going to drive me nuts. Oh, my goodness. You mean I'm unlovable for telling the truth, but I'm also going to go to hell for lying? Yes, that's what we mean. Why don't you get it? Gosh, I didn't know I was so unlovable. And so unlovability, and kind of to finish that thread, you can't say that I am totally loved. You're in pain, you want to resolve the uncertainty, and you could just say that I will be loved, right? That would be one way to resolve it. I am loved, I will be loved, and I am lovable. But then somebody doesn't love this part of me. And then you don't love this part of me. And you don't, and you don't, and you don't, and you don't. And I don't love this part of me. So I feel a little bit crazy saying that I am lovable, but nobody's loving this part of me. But they might in the future. There might be transcendent beings out there that might love you. Yeah, but they're not here right now, right? And I can't see them. I've been told to pay attention only to my 5 senses, and I don't see any transcendent beings out there. So maybe if I need certainty, it just seems a little bit more sane and also less disappointing. Like if I say I'm lovable, I am lovable. But you and you and you and you and you and you are not loving me in this area, in this area, in this area. But I'm lovable. There's just nobody can figure out how to love me. Well, what's all that about? That's confusing, right? We got to think about that. It's painful in this whole area. So just, I'm not lovable. That's it. I'm not going to be loved. That's it. Okay, now we can get on with life. The miserable life in which I'm not loved. Poor me. Because I'm unlovable. Well, such is life. Such is life. Miserable, but clear. Uncertain. The uncertainty has been resolved. My burdens, being an unlovable sinner, have begun. And yes, that's the way life is, right? And so we will go along and be that way. That's the way life is, and that's the way it is. And that's the way it is. So now we have unlovability as an idea, as a faith, as an article of faith to resolve uncertainty. There was pain and uncertainty. Now there's pain and certainty. I will never be loved. It was never going to happen. They're never going to call, and if they do, they will find something that's unlovable about me in 6 months. And so there's not anyway. I'm just going to get on with my miserable life, understanding that nobody can love me because I'm unlovable. And so I don't even have to get all excited and go up. And then I lose volatility. It's an important thing to understand, that volatility makes us feel out of control. I'm loved, I'm not loved, I'm loved, I'm not loved. Oh, my goodness. But you can't make people love you all the time in all ways. So if you just say, I am not loved, and anything that's different is an illusion, then I have no volatility. I'm just miserable all of the time. Sad, depressed. Oh, I feel sorry. Nobody loves me. Nobody understands. Nobody can understand. It's all the things that nobody can understand. Have another beer. Another beer. Oh, my goodness. The things that nobody understands. Oh, my goodness. But I'm not happy. I'm not excited. I'm not waiting for anything. So we could say that we create the illusion, the arrogant delusion, that we or someone is unlovable with a narrow band definition of love, a narrow band definition of who is capable of love. So we have to limit that to physical human beings on this planet. I mean, heaven help us if they're somewhere in the more than 100 trillion planets estimated in the universe to be capable of life, right? Because we already know of about 1 billion of them, but then there's so many other places out there that if we extrapolate the 1 billion planets that may be capable of life into all the other areas that we haven't been able to look at yet, we estimate that there's 100 trillion, 250 trillion planets maybe out there that are capable of producing life. Well, obviously, in a 50-50 odds scenario, none of them have developed more than we have. So the fact that we don't know how to love means that nobody else does either, right? Nobody. God doesn't know how to love us. We're unlovable, right? No, God doesn't even exist, right? We know that because of our superior intelligence, and neither does Goddess. She doesn't exist either. We have faith that she doesn't exist with our brilliant intelligence that cannot love ourselves, right? So unlovability is an arrogance. It is an illusion, because you can find people, really intelligent, compassionate people, who understand trauma, who understand abuse, who understand intergenerational abuse, who don't think that men who love other men will go to hell and be burned alive by a loving God, and who don't think that being kind is weak, and who don't think that intergenerational abuse patterns are all the fault of the children who inherit them, and who have tremendous compassion and love and acceptance for what is. You can find those people on just one of those 100 trillion planets, in just one body form, right? But what if dolphins were sending transcendent love, and we haven't been able to figure it out yet, right? I mean, all I'm saying is it's a little bit arrogant to say that because we, at the 25 billion point of life's evolution on one of 100 trillion planets, haven't figured out how to love one part of ourselves. It's a little bit arrogant to extrapolate that out into the grandiosity of all that is and ever will be, and say that this part of me is unlovable because I don't know how to love it. I mean, it's like saying nuclear fusion is impossible because I don't know how to do it. And, becoming a billionaire is impossible because I haven't done it, right? So nobody anywhere throughout all time is going to do that, right? And so it's a crutch. In other words, the certainty of a negative statement such as this limits volatility, improves a sense of control, allows us to get on. It's never going to happen for me. Let's just get on with life. As opposed to, should I wait? Should I go? And I can't focus, and I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of whether he was going to call or not. Were you saying something? So it's a crutch. the belief in unlovability is a crutch to get on with parts of life and the mundane and our job and whatever, in a very limited circle where we and nobody knows how to love us.